Hey guys. Alright, so I decided to make this video because personally I've met a lot of guitarists, and out of all of them, most of them really don't know how to change their strings, which really surprises me. So I kind of wanted to just get that cleared up. This isn't the way to do it. I mean, there's hundreds of ways to change your strings, but this is the personal way that I figured it out. I never learned from anyone, and I'm probably doing it wrong, but I mean, it's worked for me all this time, and I don't think I'm doing it wrong. I hope not. But this is just my personal way of doing it, and if you want, just go look up any other ways. But I guess let's jump right into it. Alright, you guys. So to start, you're gonna need your guitar. And your guitar, make sure you take off every little thing that you can. So like, I personally have a whammy bar that I've been using a lot more often. So I'm going to take that off, put that off to the side. And you're going to need some strings. You're going to need a pair of wire cutters, anything that can cut it through the strings pretty easily. And I am personally, this is how I do it, I have a lot of little things that I like to use. I'm going to be using a screwdriver to get something out of my guitar that I keep in there. So that's my little thing. And I'm also going to be using some Dentec Slim Brush cleaners. They're pretty much like floss, except not. And I'm going to be using that for a different purpose, or an unconventional purpose, later in the video. So I'll show you guys that. Also, you're going to need a tuner. You don't need it exactly, but I mean, it makes life easier, I guess. And lastly, what I like to do is, when I take my guitar completely, like I take my strings off and everything, I like to use all my little tools and everything, make sure everything's in line, re-screw everything in, because I had a guitar before that I lost stuff on because I didn't re-screw everything, make sure everything was nice and checked. And in fact, I also lost a piece on this guitar. If you can see, the screw for my pickup actually came off. So just goes to show you can, be playing guitar for about 7 years or longer and still forget about some stuff. So keep an eye on your guitar, you guys. I personally think somebody screwed up my guitar, but let's not get into that. So first of all, the way I start is I'm gonna go ahead and just start unwinding my strings. Make sure there's a little bit of tension. I don't want too much tension, because if I cut those, and then they're gonna bounce back and freaking cut me, and nobody likes to be cut, do they? Especially by high tension metal. So pretty much, just get them past the point when they stop making a tone, and it's more like a it's kind of like it's just like a buzz, I guess you could say. A very low, dim, weird buzz. Because that means they don't have any tension anymore. And you can just cut away. Around there's good. So you get your wire cutters. You're gonna go ahead and cut them wherever you like. Personally, I would say to cut them around the 12th fret, because if you go and cut them really close to the bridge, you might have some trouble getting them out. So I like just to give both parts equal string length, I guess. So go ahead and start cutting them. Just go through all of them. Don't cut your fingers. Be smart. Alright, and then from there, I like to take them off the head of the headstock first. I just spin them around and take them off, set them off to the side. If you have a trash can, put them in there. Alright, so on this part, what I like to do is when I flip it over, I don't flip it over, I actually stand it up just to push the strings through. Most of them should come through, but some of them get stuck on the plastic in the back. So right there, about 4 of them came out. The rest of them, you're gonna have to like kind of play with them. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't, and look at that. Both of them came out this time. Alright, so what I like to do here is when I have my guitar like this, and the strings are off of it, and it looks really weird, I like to clean my guitar. It's the best time to clean it, and I'll show you guys how I go about that. Alright, so now that we're here, this is actually why I have my trusty screwdriver. So here's what I do. I flip my guitar, and I decided a long time ago when I was, I don't know, let's just skip that. I pretty much, what I decided to do was put 2 more shocks, or I don't know what you can call them, in the back of the guitar. And the reason why is because I like to lay my bridge down. So I decided, also with that is actually a little like cotton towel. And it's not only to stop the buzzing, but every time I clean my guitar, I can pull it out and just clean it up. Just, you know, just wipe my guitar down, make sure it's nice and clean. So I figured pretty much my guitar is also a carrying case for other things. So here's my little towel, and what I like to do around now is just wipe off my guitar, just, you know, clean it up and whatnot. And also I have this mist and wipe finish enhancer from Fender, and I'm not sponsoring them or anything, but I don't know, it works pretty well. So I like to spray this on my cotton towel, just spray it on there, and wipe down what I can, pretty much as I can on the outside, clean everything I can, and just go about the guitar, making it nice and pretty. And usually, what I like to do when I clean my guitar is not just clean the outside where everyone can see. I like to actually go ahead and open up certain areas. Like, I like to unscrew my pickup covers and whatnot, and just clean up in there because some dirt gets between there. And yeah, that's pretty much how I go about it. I'm not going to worry about it too much because, I mean, if I do as much as I usually do, it'll probably take an hour, and I don't want an hour video. But anyways, so once we're here, that's about it, and we can start putting on strings. So now is when my little floss things come into play. So here's how they work. I noticed sometimes when I was using my whammy bar and I brought out my bridge and my strings would lessen in their tension, I guess you would say, I noticed there was something like clicking, or like, not clicking, but like it wasn't a smooth transition from whammy to non-whammy. And I was trying to figure it out. I thought it was something mechanical in my bridge, but no, it was actually my string was somehow catching on this little slit that is cut through. So the next time I changed my strings, what I did was I grabbed some Vaseline, I grabbed one of these little toothbrush thingies, and I put the Vaseline between the slits, and that stopped it. So I lubricate my guitar. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, and then after you're done, just grab your hand, go across it, just to clean up the excess, one of those words. And then it's still good. It just has Vaseline on it. No reason to be throwing stuff away. Alright, so now you finally open up your strings. And by the way, when your guitar is at this stage, before you start putting your strings on, check all your stuff, grab your little wrench, whatever, make sure everything's nice and tight, how you want it. Depending on how you want it. Just play with it every time you change your strings and figure out how you like your style. Also change what kind of strings you're using and maybe even the gauge. But I'm not going to go into anything about changing your truss rod or your action or anything like that. But I do check those when I take my guitar off and have my new strings on. So anyways, I like to start with the lowest string first. And the way the process goes, it's really easy. You flip your guitar over on its side. You find the hole which it's supposed to go in, which is the top for me. And you just kind of push it through. Alright, and then grab onto the other end, bring it through. Make sure it goes all the way in there, because sometimes when you're tuning your string and when you're spinning this, it somehow it gets caught on something, and then all of a sudden another like half an inch comes out. And well, personally for my guitar that happens, and I have like all this string up on the top, and it's really stupid. So make sure everything's pulled through and everything's fine. So after you do that, go ahead, put it through the slit and everything, and then drive it through the hole, pull it through, and from there you need to figure out the distance on your guitar. I kind of just eyeball it. I think I go about right here, and I start winding. And also, another thing to remember is remember which way it's tuning. So I don't remember it exactly, so what I do is I pick up my guitar, I act like I'm playing it, and I remember how I bring it down. It's just better when you feel it, at least when I feel it. So I figured out which way I tune my strings, which way is sharper or flatter, and I start turning it to the sharp side, just slightly. Not all the way to where it's bending the string and making a cut on it. I don't know how to say it exactly. But I figure out my distance, how I want it. And then I turn it just enough so it catches onto the string, and when I pull it, it doesn't come out. And then from there, I actually put tension on the string, and I just start spinning it. And I make sure to keep tension on there so that it wraps around nice and tight. And usually I actually do this in my guitar case, or I usually like maybe pull it down so there's no tension on the neck and I can get to the tuning pegs easier. And I just keep going, keep turning until it gets to around E. And this is when the last part of the tuning process or stringing process comes in. So we'll go about that. So around here is what I like to do is turn on my tuner and tune it to E. So once I'm at E, or close to it, I actually tune it around F sharp. Nah, not F sharp. Let's go with F. A little higher than F. Because the string's going to stretch out, and when I add the other strings, it's going to pull more tension on this, and it's going to flatten, and hopefully it gets around E when it finally flattens out. I just don't like to go ahead and keep tuning it and tuning it and tuning it. It makes it easier. And at this stage, you do not want to cut your string just yet. I personally don't like to, but you know what, your choice. Anyways, I'm going to go through all the strings, so I'll see you guys when I'm finished with that. Hey guys, alright, so I just finished stringing up my strings, tuning my guitar, and I also cut off the tips, or the axis, I don't know. But what I did was I got these little cutters that I used to first cut the bad strings off, or the old ones. And what I did was you just get as close as you can to the turning knobs or tuning knobs, and you just cut as close as you can and try and make it as flush as possible with it. But if you can't, that's fine. And then all you do is, if you can, turn them into so they're not poking out, or just kind of like hammer them so they're kind of flat. Some of them sometimes get sharp, so it's just like, make sure to watch your hands and to never grab your guitar by the headstock, because you could get poked. And after you're finished, you test your guitar. So let's see what I can do.